Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Steve with Real Progressives. Been on a roll lately, man. It's been happening. It's been rocking. We've had some great guests, and it's filled me with a lot of hope. It's filled me with a lot of enthusiasm, if you will. But we're facing 40 plus years of being lied to, right? Since neoliberalism kicked in the 70s with the Chicago School, monetarism, and Milton Friedman, the U.S. in particular has really doubled down on this idea that we can't have our government spend money on us, that we can't in any way, shape, or form expect our government to step in and take care of us. And they've expected us to chase after these scarce pieces of paper that they've created and watch. It's almost like throwing it out the window and watching the peasants fight over breadcrumbs, And when you abuse people for so long, when you psychologically abuse them for so long, it's almost like Stockholm syndrome, right? These people are addicted to the bad economics that they've been trained. Our economics textbooks tell us this stuff. Our televisions tell us this stuff. The sitcoms we watch on TV tell us this stuff. Hell, every fiction book you read is written with a neoliberal bend to it. We call this the humanities or the aesthetic. You talk about the social conditions by which we evaluate economics and by which we evaluate whether we're succeeding or losing or whether things are good or bad. And for those of you who are saying hello, let me just say hello right to you. Thank you so much for joining. But you've got to understand how ingrained and how entrenched people are in this fear of national debt, in this fear of wild runaway inflation that has never shown its face, okay? They have got irrational fears that have been pounded into them by these neoclassical economists, these talking heads on TV, some of them Nobel Peace Prize, some of them award-winning writers, Pulitzer Prize, you name it, like Paul Krugman. Even people that like Bobby Reich, that don't understand economics, they don't need to understand economics in their mind. Their guy, Robert Reich, told them so. And even look today, as much as Bernie Sanders is a freaking ally on many levels, Bernie Sanders is doing us no favors whatsoever with the way he talks about economics. You look across the board and there are so few. That is why last night when I had the opportunity to interview Justin Santopietro of the 9th District of Virginia, it was so empowering. Here's a Democrat. Here's a guy who's running as a Democrat in the state of Virginia, okay, in a coal mining area that actually understands economics, gets economics. You realize, to me, the only thing I see in this world politically are people who get economics and people who don't get economics. If you get economics, you can do an awful lot for the people. But as you can see, they're few and far between in terms of people that are actually running for office that have a clue. And that's a real serious issue because you can't achieve anything. Let me tell you something. I started trying to formulate this into some sort of a written thing, but I'll try and articulate it here in a live stream, and then maybe I'll write it up later. But, when you're dating somebody and they keep promising you things, they keep making you promises, and Friday night you're supposed to go on a date, you show up to the restaurant and they're not there. You go to a job that says, hey, yeah, we love you and we value you. And then when payday comes, your check doesn't come, or it's short some money, or some little detail that they didn't tell you doesn't come to pass. That right there is what being a progressive who lives in a neoliberal world looks like. When a progressive doesn't understand economics, They have all the best intentions. They have all the best ideas. They want to save the planet. They want to save you from, destitution. They want to help with college. They want to provide things, right? But they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to pay for it. And so they come out with these ideas that say, well, we got to raise taxes. We got to find all these weird tax schemes to find a way to pay for it. And then what happens is the minute they say we got to raise taxes to pay for it, it's shot down. But they feel good. They say, guys, nobody else is fighting for you like I am. Now, for years, that would have been okay. For years, that would have been just fine. Most of us would have been like, yeah, that's why the system is rigged. It's not good for us. We're never going to get anywhere. Yeah, he fought, and nobody backed him up. He didn't win. But the reality was he put a bill on the table that wasn't going to make it anyway. And yes, Mike Norman is running for president in 2020. Mike Norman, who is conveniently running as a Republican, though I don't believe he's a Republican. He's got every New Deal minded mindset that there is, wants to give free college, wants to give, health care, wants to take care of the environment, et cetera, et cetera. It sounds awful lot like a progressive, but whatever. So the idea, though, is that without understanding economics, you guys, all of us, fall in love with these people. We fall in love with them. We just say, oh my God, he's my hero. I love him. I love Bernie. I love this person. Oh my God, I love them. But they cannot deliver these. I'm not talking about Bernie. Let's put him off to the side because he's a special case right now. But all these folks on the Green Party, all these folks that are up-and-coming progressives, all these folks that are even Dem-enter progressives that are Bernie-crats, etc. We got a whole bunch of people we look at. We're not just party here, party there. I don't care. I think we've got multiple strategies we've got to do to change the world. I don't have time to wait for all these other things to be viable. We've got to do a bunch of things, right? We've got to have our hand in every pot to change the world. So with that understanding, these are good people that you love and care for that really believe they're going to do something special, but they have skipped the economics because it was hard. They didn't like it. It was confusing. They felt overwhelmed. They figured somebody else would take care of it for them, whatever, right? So they skipped it. It's like getting a grad degree without going and taking any business classes or I don't know. They skipped a very vital part of what it means to be a politician. You've got to actually understand how to pay for things. It's never the issue of whether people want to live longer or die faster. It's always an issue of how are you going to pay for it every single time. This is not a one-time deal. This is every single solitary bill loses out because of the pay-fors. So, if you're one of those people that's self-satisfied by just somebody saying the things that you want to hear and then them not succeeding and getting anything done, this probably won't excite you. But for me, I need my date to show up to dinner. I need my boss to make my paycheck come in when they say it's coming in. I need to make sure that when I buy a car, that it runs. I don't want somebody selling me a lemon. I don't want somebody selling me a beautiful car with great interior that has no engine. And that's what a politician without economics is. It's like an empty nothing. It's just literally nothing. And so if we, as a movement, want to succeed, we've got to stop falling in love. And folks, I'm going to lean in there. This is for my friends that love Bernie Sanders. This is for my friends that are in love with Dem-enter. This is for my friends that are in love with Dem-exit. This is for my third-party friends that are building new parties. I don't care. You will not be able to deliver anything to me unless you take economics seriously. You will not be able to save the environment unless you take economics seriously. You'll not be able to provide your children free college unless you take economics seriously. You will not be able to eradicate student debt without taking economics seriously. And you will not be able to save 45,000 people from suicide every year, from joblessness, and provide a federal job guarantee without understanding economics. It's as simple. You will not be able to stop wars for oil. You will not be able to stop the wars until we have renewable energy in this country. You're not going to have renewable energy in this country unless you know economics. It's that simple. I'm not making this up. It's that simple. When people fight with me, I know what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with 40 years of brainwashing. Or, the more troubling thing, we have had opportunities to learn these things of late, but people have still chosen people that are not capable of providing an economic narrative to give them their economics. Think about the people that are worried about the national debt that will not do anything because they're petrified of savings accounts at the Federal Reserve, at the Treasury, whatever. People are petrified of folks buying treasuries. Let's talk about that for a minute. Where does the money come from that they're buying these treasuries with? These foreign countries, where do you think that money is coming from? They're buying those treasuries with their U.S. dollars, their existing U.S. dollars. We're not printing money for them to take that. They're taking their existing U.S. dollars out of the economy, and they are putting them into a time-based savings account with a very small interest rate associated with it. That is your national debt. It's not anything more than that. Do you understand? We're not going to China and going, hey, People's Republic of China, can we please borrow, I don't know, a couple $1 trillion of US dollars, please? That's not how it works. We're not borrowing money. Do you understand that? Just like your bank sells CDs. Your bank doesn't panic when you buy CDs. Does it? It doesn't. So when we talk about balancing the budget for fear of this unsustainable debt, do you understand how you've been lied to? Does it make sense why that is so... It's such a perversion that they lie to you like that. That lie prevents so many people from living a life that could be full. There's so many things that we have literally ignored because we thought the national debt was unsustainable. Because we thought the national debt was unsustainable, we're afraid to give you Medicare for all. And because we're afraid of that, we're going to go ahead and try to raise taxes to make you pay for it, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And the student debt. My goodness, this is the easiest thing in the world to fix. I mean, they could budget, I don't know, they could budget $500 million a year, $5 billion a year, $1 trillion a year. They could do whatever they need to. They could wipe out that $1.4 trillion, student loan debt. Just wipe it out. Wouldn't be a big deal. So the fear of debt, when we talk about why taxes don't fund spending, the reason we say that so much is not because it's just a great bumper sticker. It is. It's a great bumper sticker. It's a great saying. It's easy. It rolls off the tongue. No, but we say it so that you stop trying to find ways to pay for these programs. All programs are paid for by congressional appropriation. So when your congressmen try to tell you that we can't afford it, we don't know where to find the money, that we'll go broke. You want to know how to be an activist. You want to know how to make change. You've got to talk to them. You've got to talk to your local radio stations. You've got to write letters. You've got to write news articles. You've got to write op-eds. You've got to write opinion pieces everywhere. You've got to go to their office, ask for a meeting. Go to their town hall with signs telling them that you know the truth. Go to your local street corner, tell them. Go to your PTA and tell them. Go to your local market, tell them. Go to your local VFW, tell them. This is how we begin to make change. And it starts with you, and it starts with me. And when they say we've got to reduce the deficit, that's another really important thing to not do. The deficit that they're talking about is the government's deficit. When it creates the dollars, they're saying we've got a scarcity of dollars as a deficit. But the solution to their deficit is to make us be in deficit. Do you understand this? Double entry accounting. Somebody's deficit is somebody's surplus. So when the federal government is in surplus, now the foreign sector could be in surplus or it could be in deficit. That would be your balance of trade, right? But for us, boy, oh boy, when we're in deficit, all of a sudden, we can't get our heater fixed in the winter. We can't get our car fixed to go to our jobs. We can't get food on the table when we're in deficit. So when you want to reduce the deficit, targeted deficit reduction's great, but it's unnecessary. Because by focusing there, you put our lives, you and I, us little people that don't have the ability to absorb blows to the economy, you put our lives in the balance. That's not good. And when you start realizing that the more you go down the scale and you get to the people that are really, really hurting, when you reduce the deficit, you are literally putting their life in danger. Now, I would call that a murder by proxy in some of my other more expansive live streams, because it's murder. You may not have meant it to be murder. You might call it some homicide or, manslaughter or whatever. But that doesn't wake people up. I'm here to wake people up. I'm the alarm clock without a snooze button. And I want you to understand that ignorance of this subject is lethal to people. And once you know the truth, and once you say, everybody's going Dem-N, or everybody's going Dem-Exit, everybody's going green, everybody's doing this, that, and the other. Whenever you do that, and you allow it, you have literally placed your own comfort ahead of people's lives. Because it was too much trouble to fight to tell the truth about economics. I don't know what more to say than that, right? I don't know what more to say than that. And people talk about inflation. Hey, you know what? Show me your inflation. Oh, what about back in 1912 when bread cost $1? Well, back then they made $5 a month. You telling me that same $5 a month is what people are making today? No? So the relative buying power is still there. The issue is that our wages haven't gone up. The wealthy have gotten wealthy. They've been extracting GDP every single year. And yet here we are because of 40 years of propaganda. We, amongst ourselves, keep each other down. It's a brilliant strategy to keep us killing each other. It's a brilliant strategy to keep us killing each other. We sit there and bicker about somebody got some friggin' crab meat on their food stamps. We bicker about somebody's wearing too nice a clothes to be deserving of welfare. We bicker about all these little things because we believe that it's our hard-earned tax dollar giving them these benefits. But it's not. And once you realize that, you're able to cross over. You're able to cross over party lines. This is why when I see people doing the bad Republican, bad Democrat, bad, and I say, guys, you're focusing on the wrong enemy. The enemy is us. The enemy is I. We have to do better. Once we do better, they can't snow us any longer. And that includes the people in our own movement that tell untruths, that act like they understand something, but don't understand, and tell us these grand stories of permanent slavery to the Federal Reserve and stuff like that. These people that make up these grand stories that do more to keep us down than the Federal Reserve ever did to us, sadly. By making people stop striving for these things, they have literally decapitated the movement. It seems harmless, right? Until you realize that people are dying for that lie. Every day we don't fight the economic narrative, some poor person has to die for you to be stupid. Some poor person has to die so you can stay stuck repeating bad stuff. And then some poor person has to die because your feelings got hurt because I normally am yelling at you. I'm normally yelling at you because I feel this stuff, right? This stuff really, really bugs me to no end. It really does. It tears me up inside because I see it. It's kind of like the Matrix. You watch Neo. That's what I feel like when I'm watching these bad economic narratives go on. These people, the same people saying, no, we got to do a UBI. And I'm like, guys, it's a trap. It's a trap. A UBI was brought along by the same neoliberals that have been lying to you for 40 years. It is a Trojan horse to destroy all the programs, all the social safety nets, all the safety protections built into society. The Koch brothers have been fighting tooth and nail for a UBI. You don't believe me? Do some homework. It is solely there to destroy the social safety net and give you maximum freedom, because you need more freedom, not shelter, not food, not freaking training, not school. Okay? This is the bullshit. But again, it sounds really good that everybody would get a basic income, doesn't it? It sounds splendiferous until you realize that it's not. And that's why we are advancing a federal job guarantee. It pegs the entire economy to the labor standard. And what does that mean? We're talking about public purpose jobs, real jobs with real benefits. And it's a guarantee. You cannot be destitute, not have health care, and not have the things you need. Not just throwing money at the subject and watching them drive the price of insurance through the roof. We're talking about including these things in. It's so much better than a UBI. It's unbelievable. A UBI is like a school voucher. Everybody gets one, including the rich. So the rich decide they're going to take their riches, put it on top of their voucher, and take their kid to a private school anyway. And all the poor kids still stay stuck in this dilapidated, rundown school. But everybody feels good because they got a UBI, right? They got a UBI. But nothing changed. In fact, what you do is now you have inflation because there was nothing productive coming from it. See, inflation is not about printing too much money. Inflation is about printing too much money without having enough goods and services to back it up. There's no wage anchor. There's no price anchor to a UBI. There's nothing there to keep the economy intact. But a federal job guarantee forces employers to meet or beat this new living wage, not some low-level minimum bullshit wage. We are talking about setting the bar. We're talking about including job training so people that want to do more can do more. And if you don't want a job, because you just whatever, right? Let's say you're sick. Let's say you have a disability, whatever. We expand Social Security to meet that need. Expanded Social Security. And once you realize that Social Security is in no way, shape, or form going broke, because it's all keystrokes once again. Warren Mosler's 7 Deadly Innocent Frauds, fraud number 4, check it out. The whole bullshit about Social Security, it's a trap. Another trap. It's no Ponzi scheme because the government itself is the creator of the keystroke dollars. It's no Ponzi scheme. It creates the money. You understand? These are automatic stabilizers in the economy. Federal job guarantee. People can roll on, they can roll off, they can go find private sector work, they can start a business, or they can just sit there and serve their local communities and get paid well. Folks, there is real truth out there. And it's not coming from your political parties. And it's probably not coming from your politicians. It's going to have to come from you. And it's going to have to come from me. And it's going to have to be a very concerted effort. Because I'm telling you right now, I watch friends of mine in the Green Party running around chasing people down, saying, stop bashing the Green Party. Stop bashing the Green Party. When in reality, the old-timers of the Green Party are worried about their power base, and they're not letting you make any changes there. Now, mind you, there's a new crop coming up. Hats off to them. I love them. But that doesn't mean that I'm all in for the party. Hell, Draft Bernie, the People's Party, whatever, PIP, etc. These are all folks I'm pulling for too. Folks, I want a 360 envelope of the world, and I want to crush it, and I want us to win. And, even though I'm not going to Dem enter, even though I'd love to see the duopoly die, I'm not going to sit there and beat the shit out of my friends that have made a different choice. As long as they are advancing truth, I don't care, because I'm not worried about their parties. I'm worried about you. I'm worried about you going into your Our Revolution meetings and telling them about monetary sovereignty and MMT. I'm worried about you going to your Green Party meetings and telling the old coots that are telling you all these fishtails. I want you to tell them, hey, dude, you're wet behind the ears. Let me tell you about how we can save the planet today. I want you to go to your freaking establishment Dem meetings and tell them. I want you to go to your town halls. Tell them. Thanksgiving Day at the dinner table, I want you to tell your family. I want you to tell everybody you come in contact with. To hell with the parties. If they don't want to get on board in a few years, real progressives will take care of that problem. Trust me. Yes, we will. You have my word on that. So in any event, just remember this. You keep telling me to focus on Bernie Sanders. I'm not going to do it. I like the guy. God knows he's doing better than most people are. You tell me to focus on Go Green. Sorry, probably not. I'll vote for green people all day long. If they're on the ballot, I'll vote for them, but I'm not going green. I'll vote green if that's what happens, but I'm not going green because your party is full of grand poobahs at the top that peddle lies and myths about economics. I can't get with that. How in the world do you expect me to partner with people that are economically illiterate when my entire message is economics? I mean, seriously, I'm not shutting up, and I'm certainly not going to act like we're co-equals talking about a subject that they know nothing of. They're either there to learn or they're not. I mean, seriously, no offense. It's just not the way it's going to play out for me. I'm outside the party, man. I'm here to impact all progressives wherever they are and make us take the world by storm wherever you choose to go. Do we need to end the duopoly? Yes. Do we need to expand the platform third parties? Yes. Do I think a third party is probably going to be the way we have to go in order to save the world? Yes. But is that today? We're going to have to keep building, but we've got to fight like mad outside the system to get you and I to break our minds free of the Stockholm syndrome of these parties. Vote blue no matter who's a very powerful mind fuck, isn't it? Vote blue no matter who is a very, very powerful union-like mindset. Don't you cross that picket line, you'll be a scab. Very powerful language there. Keeps people locked in. Don't you forget, JFK died for you. He died for your sins. We got a lot of weird loyalties. We've got a lot of weird loyalties. I don't have them. I have one loyalty, and that's to my family and to proper economics so that the progressive movement can succeed. I don't care about your party. If you get economics and you decide as a party that you're going to embrace macroeconomic reality and you are not going to do these stupid, idiotic things that leave people dying, you might get my attention then. But if you continue to peddle bad myths, and when I see people, this is the worst. I'm just going to tell you, this is the one that gets my blood boiling. When I see people make excuses for economic illiteracy instead of forcing them to change, you make an excuse for somebody doing that, you are guilty of the poor person that died from that lie. I'm sorry. That's the truth. There is no get out of jail free card on that. I'll be the guy tapping you on the shoulder saying, you just killed somebody with that one. How does that feel? I'm not going to pull my punches. I can't. You can't expect them to tell you the truth. They're not going to. Even Bernie. Not me, us. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. And I hope you guys learned something tonight. Have a good night, everybody.